I noticed that no list for constituency number 2 are still, no lists are posted. And from my discussion, I understand there's been a challenge in the court with respect to that particular list. And so maybe that is why, I don't know, but maybe that is why no list has been attached to the various polling stations as yet, which is interesting. I think, folks need to know exactly what's going to happen, what's going on. I heard one of the candidates say that he did in fact file court action challenging the names, a lot of the names on the list that was submitted, which purports to include the names of persons eligible to vote tomorrow. So I don't know if, because that court action is not yet concluded, why no lists have been posted. But it's really an uncomfortable situation. So the question is, will the list be posted in time before tomorrow? And the question is that against the law for that there be no list posted? Can the elections proceed less than 24 hours from now with no list posted? Is that legal? I don't know. I haven't sought to get answers to those questions, but I have to repeat my discomfort with the situation as obtained in constituency number 2. I don't know what the situation is for other constituencies, but the one that pertains to me and the one or two other individuals with whom I am connected is constituency number 2, and there are no lists anywhere. What is going to happen tomorrow, I don't know. I was supposed to have had a guest this morning. I was really looking forward to having her, but for one reason or another, she's no longer available, which means we're going to open the lines earlier than usual. But even so, we're going to ask when you call, maximum 2 minutes, and you can call back. I don't know why we have to remind people of that. I guess because some persons, they gauge the time or the amount that it would cost to make 2 separate calls as opposed to making 1 long call. Which is cheaper, I don't know. 2 short calls or 1 long call. In any event, we can't allow you to be on the phone for too long. So when you do call, please bear that in mind. So you might want to talk to us about things electoral, things political. Since when we get here next week, assuming the election proceeds tomorrow as planned, when we get back here next week, we will be talking in a different environment. So let's see how we proceed. Let me also, sorry? Okay, we'll take a commercial break now. That's quick.
We voting for Sean Richards. Sean Richards.
Finally, the touchdown is here. The day of liberation is dawning, and the People's Action Movement will be heading to Downing Street in Sandy Point for their final campaign rally. It's Touchdown Campaign this Thursday, August 4 from 7 p.m. in Sandy Point. Come and celebrate with your winning PAM candidate, led by the next Prime Minister, Sean Richards. Featuring the sweetest band in the world, the Small X Band, Grandmasters, iMark, Highlight and 313 Family, Akayu Suite, King Socrates and Family, and a special appearance by gospel singer Bridget Boucher. So it's on Thursday night, 7 p.m. All roads lead to Sandy Point for the final PAM Touchdown Campaign Rally. Remember, PAM Sweet Sweet and PAM Nice Nice.
We voting for Sean Richards. A man with a brand new case and understand this.
Are you ready for the bigger, better summer? $10,000 cash could be yours. Simply activate any Prime Plus bundle, pay your postpaid bill in full and on time, or sign up for our home and internet package. Plus, get a chance to win weekly prizes, win cash, shopping sprees, gas vouchers, smartphones, and more. Summer hotter with Digicel. Digicel, better together this summer.
Gas prices are on the rise. Putting gas in your vehicle has become stressful, and you need relief now. That's why a PAM CCM government will roll back and cap gas prices at $14 a gallon through our Get Relief plan. A $4 per gallon savings translates into hundreds of dollars a month back into your pocket. Relief is on the way. On Friday, August 5th, vote Pam for better days in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Better days are coming, coming.
Okay, welcome back. I wanted to point out that someone challenged me yesterday to find out whether a national hero, his or her status can be revoked. Before we get to the callers, I want to make this clear. My investigation reveals that the act is silent when it comes to whether someone who has achieved the order of national hero can be deprived of it. There's nothing in the act that says the individual can so be denied or deprived. However, the opinion is that even if there were conditions which would dictate that one loses his national hero status, Dr. Simmons' statement nowhere approximates that threshold. Okay? It would have to be something extremely egregious, something that hurts or harms or insults the national interests, the national image, national safety, national security, national health, national economy, something like that. And what Dr. Simmons' statement is nowhere near what qualifies for removal of national hero status. Just thought I'd point that out in reference to the challenge that was made to me yesterday to find out whether one can lose his national hero status. The act is silent on that. But even if there were stipulations, those with whom I spoke, those who were steeped in that area, are convinced that no way would Dr. Simmons' statement qualify him for removal of that status. Thank you. Let's take our first call. Good morning.
Hello. A blessed good morning once more. They work Sunday by the electoral office, so no excuse that the number 2 thing ain't put out yet. Because in boys, they got boys one down here by the shop. So people, please to do your work that we can get election do and don't do no bad deals. Take care.
Thank you. I support that call. Let's do what we have to do to get the election on the way and don't do any bad deeds. Let's take another caller.
Good day, Mr. Blake.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we're down to the wire. Mm-hmm. I think it's been a hard-fought campaign. You know, everybody said their piece and tried to win friends and influence people. And it's now up to the voters. I think that the issues have been well ventilated. If you look at the main campaign promises, they're pretty much the same in all the parties, you know, right? Things like what to do with these social programs, PAP piece, STEP, those things. And they all seem to actually be in step with one another. All of them say they are good programs and need to be, but they need to be reformed. Okay? All the parties are saying that. So that, I think, is not going to be the main difference between the parties. That's not going to distinguish them. What is going to distinguish them is the fact that we're here just 2 years after having a poll, because a lot of the issues that were promised were not fixed, okay? And so what I would expect is that the electorate, who are essentially disappointed that we have to be here, should punish those who promise to fix these issues, the big constitutional issues, the electoral issues, like what you just spoke about, right? All those things were supposed to be fixed. The revenue sharing things between St. Kitts and Nevis, and so they have not been fixed. So I expect that the electorate is going to punish the incumbents for not doing what they promised to do, okay? And reward the opposition, I think, give them a mandate, hopefully a clear mandate, to fix these issues, all right, so that we don't end up back in the same position 2 years from now. That is what I think. That's the bottom line for this election. We got here. We should not have been here. We don't want to go back here again anytime in the near future. And so people should vote accordingly. Okay, I think that's essentially is the bottom line for this.
Yeah, I agree with you that there's a very real possibility that depending on the configuration of the new...
Yes, that's the problem, and that can
parliament.
be problematic. And remember that the NIA election is still out there pending. You know, we're fatigued with elections now. Okay, and that is why I think a clear mandate is necessary. I think ideally it should be one for St. Kitts, right, and one for Nevis. And then they can negotiate and it probably will be tough negotiations, but they are needed nevertheless. Stop kicking the can down the road and solve the burning issues that we've been having between both islands once and for all. Okay, and only clear mandates, I think, can cause that to happen. Yeah.
That's it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was explaining to him, but let's take another caller. Hello. Good morning. All right, we missed him or her. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how are you doing, Blake?
I'm okay.
Yeah, I heard you made mention that the law is silent on revocation of a national hero.
That's one of my advice.
I don't know the content of Mr. Simmons' speech or presentation because I did not listen. But barring that, there is a part of the National Heroes Act that speaks to revocation.
Mm.
Okay? So maybe your research might have been...
My source?
Your source might have been a little bit misinformed, and maybe your search might have been a bit superficial. But there is something with respect to that. Now let me respond to what...
No, well, I thought you were going to elucidate.
Well, I can do that. We can do that in a tete-a-tete.
I see, okay.
Okay? Now let me respond to what the good gentleman just said, that the incumbent must be punished. But we have to remember that within one of the parties that is contesting for leadership position, you have an architect for several years who contributed to what he indicated should have been corrected. So if you're going to punish them for not fixing the problems as he indicated, how can you reward a team with the composition of the architect who was part of 90% of those problems? It doesn't make sense. It is ridiculous. It's ludicrous. The architect is right in there.
Yeah, but
so how can you reward that with the architect being? He'll be rewarded because he's part of the composition of the party. I don't know your views on that, but this is my view.
Even if the architect no longer occupies the seat of control, the leadership position, in the driver's seat, you think that's irrelevant?
It's still the architect. And that perception that he doesn't control the leadership role, that is mere paperwork. In reality and in practice, he shall be at the helm of the leadership of that particular party. I'm
not so sure how you can be so sure that he shall. I prefer if you want to say
that is my perception.
He might.
Based on experience, he only experienced one day with governmental working, and he shall not sit idle by and let his people not be directed from his experiences and expertise.
So
to me, that's a logical deduction.
Well, of course, we all believe that our deductions are logical, but in one man's logic is another man's folly. Now, are you suggesting or are you stating that in the absence of that architect, that particular party would be therefore
better perceived,
deserving of being rewarded. You're thinking, are you arguing, just a minute. Are you arguing that by virtue of the presence of that architect, ipso facto, the party of which he's a part does not deserve to be rewarded? But in his absence, the party so deserves. Yes. Is that your point?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let me make room for others.
Very well.
Thank you. And we shall have that tete-a-tete.
You bet. You would have had it a long time ago.
Yes, right.
All right, later.
Okay.
Let's take another caller then. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Is this a cable?
No, it's not. It's ZIZ, Frank and Candid.
2555?
465-2555. That's it, yes. Hello?
Good morning, Brother Blake.
Yes, sir.
Brother Blake, first, I always want to thank God for life. Thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. Brother Blake, I just come from the mountain. I don't get to hear your opening topic, your opening story. Why is that opening program today?
Yes, I was over at a guest and she's no longer available, so we are open now.
Oh, Brother Blake, by my little 10-cent opinion this morning about our country and about the Federation, we know that we have the PAM and the Labour for many years in political parties, right? And they contest election and win election. And Labour was, PAM was in for 15 years, Labour was in for 20 years. And let me tell you something. Most people say vote on traditional because they vote on the party line and how long and all the party be. But we want to get away from that, Brother Blake. We want to get away from the long party line business. We want to get away from people who we can elect and represent our country, represent it good. Now look at the NRP. The NRP bring, there is an old party, but they bring some, they make a new thing. They bring all women. They try all women. And that is something good. And this is where I believe our electorate we should try it. Try something new, since these old political party, when they get into government, they fail us. Look at the Labour government for 20 years. For 20 years they're in government. And these people who crowding behind them, they are the one who in the back seat, always in the back seat, and always are the most wanted and the needy people. You understand? But I believe Dr. Harris is making a new change with his PLP. And saying this to saying that, I hear people saying about how these men, young, they know nothing about politics. They're just going to politics, they this and that. But these educated people, look at Jacqueline Bowen. Jacqueline Bowen, they're accustomed to the media, see the media exposed. She could be the Minister of Tourism or the Foreign Minister. And go
you don't have time to talk about each of them, eh?
Okay, then, Brother Blake, yeah, that's my contribution I want to make, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I wasn't asking him to hush right now, but I didn't want him to begin to feel like he can talk about each of the candidates and why each of them is qualified, because each of the parties, of course, will insist that each of their candidates is thoroughly and properly qualified. It's up to us, the electorate, to determine whether their so-called qualifications merit their being elected to office, to political office. Let's take another caller.
Yes, Mr. Blake?
Yes.
What we have to remember is that we did try something new in terms of the coalition that we had, and we saw what happened. Right. There are more fundamental issues that have to be looked at, like the Constitution. And somebody spoke about architect. I would say that was those who designed the Constitution were in fact the architect of what has happened, because they determined how much power the Prime Minister has, those kinds of things. What happens between St. Kitts and Nevis, that is what is bedeviling us now, and that is why we need a constitutional change to effect some of these things that really need changing. All right, that is how we get change. And remember that what is the alternative? That is what oppositions are for, When an incumbent government messes up, the people have an alternative, right? The alternative is the current opposition, right? We can't reward the incumbents, because that's essentially spinning top in mud. You know, you don't reward fair.
Their constituency representatives. Because our electoral system is a constituency system, our country is divided into constituencies, from where the constituency representatives are elected by the people of the constituencies to be their representatives in parliament and the government. And to give credence to the system, there is a law that was passed in our National Assembly that says that all registered voters who go to the polls to vote should vote in the constituencies where they live and should not vote in constituencies where they do not live or never lived, and that anyone who breaks the law would be subjected to 5 years in jail or pay a fine of $30,000. I am not aware that the law is repealed, and therefore it is still on the books. Now, if the electoral system that we have is not a voting at large system, as in some large countries where people vote by mail also and do not go to the polls to cast their votes. So when our politicians would go into countries overseas to campaign and to invite our nationals to return home to vote and to pay for their transportation to and from our country, and also to say to the nationals that they can take their passport or their driver's license to the polls to vote, when nothing but the authentic voter ID that is issued by our electoral registration office should be what would be the acceptable thing to do in order to vote. Therefore, for any politician to go overseas to coerce nationals to return to the country to vote without having the authentic voter ID from the electoral office, when nothing besides the voter ID given by the electoral office can be used or should be used.
Mr. Wells, you have 60 seconds more, please.
Yes, I will coming through, yes. When it is seen that nationals returning must stay at guest houses or hotels for the few days they will stay on island, is proof that the constituency system is not taken seriously by some people. But our Constitution speaks very clearly that the constituency system is what the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis must have. Also, please note that only the electoral office can issue an authentic voter ID card to be taken to the polling station.
30 seconds.
On election day. I'm finishing now.
Thank you.
And it is by presenting the voter ID card that the voters can receive the ballot paper to cast their votes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I appreciate Mr. Welsh's concern and intervention, but the law does not say that one has to have an ID card in order to vote. The law does not say that. Perhaps we will get to that point where one cannot vote except he has that particular card. But definitely, for the moment, one can vote without that card. All right. Do we have a caller standing by? Right. Now, each party, it must be noted, before we take a station break here, it must be noted that each party contesting the elections tomorrow has a mixture of neophytes, if you wish, and experienced individuals. And some would say that's the best blend, to mix experience with newness, as it were. Not necessarily youth, because you can be 100 years old and have no experience. So I don't see anything wrong with that particular kind of approach, where you blend the the set of candidates with those who would have been there before, those who are entering for the first time. And each candidate, each party, as I understand it, has such a blend. And it is not correct to state that NRP has an all-woman slate of candidates. That is not the case at all. There are 2 females and 1 male contesting the elections for the NRP tomorrow. Let's take a break and come right back.
At ZIZ, we want to take a moment to salute our small business owners and encourage you to support them. Our small business owners are always hard at work providing quality goods and services to you. They also provide employment for many and can be counted on to give back to our communities. Today and every day, we salute our small business owners and we say thank you for the opportunity to provide advertising services to you. If you're a small business, call us at 465-2621 to join our family of small business advertisers. Call us 465-2621. You'll be glad you did.
We voting for Sean Richards. Sean Richards.
Finally, the touchdown is here. The day of liberation is dawning, and the People's Action Movement will be heading to Downing Street in Sandy Point for their final campaign rally. It's Touchdown Campaign this Thursday, August 4 from 7 p.m. in Sandy Point. Come and celebrate with your winning PAM candidates, led by the next Prime Minister, Sean Richards. Featuring the sweetest band in the world, the Small X Band, Grandmasters, iMark, Highlight and 313 Family, Akayu Suite, King Socrates and Family, and a special appearance by gospel singer Bridget Boucher. So it's on Thursday night, 7 p.m. All roads lead to Sandy Point for the final PAM Touchdown Campaign Rally. Remember, PAM sweet, sweet, and PAM nice, nice.
This is Chris Gale, the Universe Boss. Get ready for something new. The 60s T10 cricket tournament taking place in St. Kitts this year from the 24th to the 28th of August. Huge power hits and all the CPL teams taking part in exciting new innovation to the game. Come and see me and all the stars playing at Warner Park. For fixtures, information and to buy tickets, visit 60cricket.com. Experience cricket power game at the 60.
Gas prices are on the rise. Putting gas in your vehicle has become stressful, and you need relief now. That's why a PAM CCM government will roll back and cap gas prices at $14 a gallon through our Get Relief plan. A $4 per gallon savings translates into hundreds of dollars a month back into your pocket. Relief is on the way. On Friday, August 5th, vote PAM for better days in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Better days are coming.
Okay, we're back with you on Frank and Candid today, Thursday. And we are going to take this caller and hear what she has to say. Hello.
Yeah, hi, I'm Mr. Blake. Good morning again.
Yes.
We have a challenge in court currently with respect to some 1,000 voters.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Mr. John L. Powell and Mr. Lindsey Grant, maybe on behalf of the People's Action Movement, would have made a submission to have 1,000 names removed from the list of voters. And I think that 1,000 names, they were placed between May and June, maybe June, July, maybe, I don't know. But there's a challenge, and maybe they're trying to get an injunction, maybe to cause the election to be postponed, so to speak. It's an attempt until those names are removed. Well, if you had since May, why are you waiting until August to challenge names that were put on in May and June and thereafter, May coming forward to now?
No, but Mr. Nidal, clearly it will be because they would have just received the final list, which is supposed to apply for tomorrow. And so it is this final list which they would have received, which now contains names which they are challenging. So is it not fair to say that they should have done it since May or June?
So there was no interim list between now and the final list for you to have realized that there are some names that ought not to be included. You don't think there was an interim list?
Well, I think I heard Mr. Powell argue that even on the interim list, some of the names which are now on the final list did not appear at any point on the interim list.
Okay,
He specifically said
go ahead,
101 names for Central Bastille, which are now on the final list for tomorrow, have not appeared. He said they just appeared out of nowhere. They were not on any list at all between January and now.
But then I think that even on voting day, you can have objections. You can make a list of the names that you objected to. The process would go ahead, and then you make the objection, and the objection hearing be heard even after the election, after voting. Now, for you to give a judge a 397-page document, just hours to get ready for a hearing today, that is basically impossible.
Yeah, but then
400 pages, and you did not even file it in the Federation. You file it via the Chief Registrar over in St. Lucia, ex parte. I mean, come on, this is a local issue. Why you not putting it, making a submission to our local court directly? What do you have to hide? Why don't you want people to know?
So you prefer that the list be used and the returning officer, the supervisor of election declares candidate A to be duly elected, and then the challenge is made after that fact?
That is a legal way to do it as well. But to provide somebody with a 400-page, almost 400-page document, and asking them to read through that in order to go through a trial, that is just impossible. That's a lot of pages. And you have 1,000 names. Each person would have to be given an opportunity to resist the effort to have them removed from the list. 1,000 names. How that could ever be practically possible? 1,000 names. If I'm on it, I want to resist the attempt to get me removed from it. So I have to be engaged. I would have to be engaged. How could you engage 1,000 people?
Yeah, but don't you think that the candidates have a right, let's be honest and fair now, that they have a right to question names with which they're not familiar, which they've never seen?
Most absolutely certainly, yes.
Exactly.
But telling you, how is this going to be practically possible, given the fact that the election is tomorrow, and you have 1,000 of them? It's not like 10 people. Remember, they usually would have objection hearings. Somebody would want to go and resist the effort to take the name off the list. How can you do that for 1,000 persons? You just can't put them in a bag and decide, get rid of these 1,000. Each individual would have his or her own circumstances.
60 seconds more.
No, that's all right. I'm done. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks much.
Thanks to you. Let's get some feedback from our listening audience. What is your position on the matter? Because you heard me complain since yesterday that no lists have been posted in Central Bastille, which I am familiar with. I really don't know what is happening elsewhere. I perhaps should have given them on the island to confirm whether lists have been posted in the other constituencies. I know that some persons have called and said lists are posted in constituency number 3, certain areas of constituency number 3. But, and of course, we've since learned that a challenge has been made in court with respect to certain names on certain lists. This caller is suggesting that it should not have been done so late, and I'm sure others have different views. Let's take this caller. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, talk to us.
Yes. What I want to talk on is the movement of the polling stations in number 2 as well. Just like how you talk about you spoke about the list not being posted.
Yes.
I could, there have been some polling stations that have been moved, like the one there by Pilgrim Church, where they move it to the Wesleyan Holiness Outreach Center.
Yeah, the same church.
Is directly in front of the candidate for PLP house. And the reason for moving it, they say that there's traffic, for the traffic and all that here. But, I mean, they've been going public meetings, blocking off whole roads all the time, so I don't see how they could be talking about traffic I mean, it's only for one day. I mean, like, I think that here is just not right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My concern is for the elderly folks who live in that concentrated area that the Pilgrim Church polling station normally serves. It's a high concentration of elderly folks, and I'm a bit concerned as to how they're going to get to the new center, which is some distance away, and so on. Let's hope the weather holds up, and that they can in fact make it. But I believe that
you're correct in saying that, because that where that they are located, a lot of people ain't even familiar with that.
Right, that is true.
That area.
Well, my considered opinion is that if the change was going to be made, I think an alternative venue pretty close by, very close to that old venue, should have been investigated, as opposed to moving it to where it now is. That is my view. Okay, but thank you very much.
And then another thing.
Okay.
They also moved the counting station from the girls' school to the McKnight Community Center. I mean, these things here raise a lot of questions. Why would you move? If you check how the girls' school is, the nice big yard where everybody could monitor, down the dark area, not well lit and all that here. I don't know. Somehow I see a lot of problems, but I don't know.
All right. I hope to see you later, you and family. All right, we're taking another call. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
I find a little bit of biasness with people. Right? When you say things are far. Far from who? He gets close to somebody else. It's not be closer to Shadwell and those people up there who was far in all the years. The people in Holiness Church was far from them all the years. But they reached.
Nah.
Now it changed and it's close to them.
Nah.
You find it being far. Far from who? Just like how they say that the stuff, what the dialysis machine, even Newton ground, is far. Far from who? Because it's not in Bastille, in the central part of Bastille. It's close to those people in St. Paul's and all those other places. But then because it's of the reach of Bastille, it's far. Come on, man. That's a whole heap of biasness. So look at it. Shadwell people used to have to find a way where they're all young or in between to building Holiness Church. Now the people in Holiness Church people find it far now to reach. Oh my God. God bless you guys.
Yeah. Well, clearly, I think that individual needs to examine the list and look carefully at the areas where the people live, the people who were served by the Pilgrim Church on Keon Street, where they lived, and he would have to agree that the vast majority of them live much closer to the church there than to the new center at Chadwell. Certainly, anytime you move a facility or move a post or move anything, it's going to get closer to some people and further from others. The question is not only the majority, but you're looking at a particular cohort. You're looking at the elderly, you're looking at the frail, and all of that. And you look to see exactly who is best served. Let's take another caller, however.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, and you? And we
I am excellent.
Right.
I'm calling in reference to a learned colleague of mine who called a few minutes ago speaking about a 400-page document being lodged.
Yes.
And what I find curious about it is undoubtedly the gentleman is very learned in all of these areas, but he did not speak to anything procedural, neither did he speak to anything substantive. He just threw a number out there. And I wish to ask a few questions to shed further light. A matter of such importance as election, one would assume that the judicial system would prepare itself with resources for any such challenge, any such injunction, any such objection, because we do not want to disenfranchise any voter from St. Kitts or Nevis in any election. So saying that a 400-page document was submitted with only a few days, I can't see that being a big issue, because the judicial team should have been present. Additionally, the gentleman spoke about interim lists, and it's interesting. From his comments, it seems as if he's claiming ignorance, which I would like him to come back on if he's listening and say that he did know that the interim lists that should have been produced and released were either not done or not done in the specific time frames as per the law. So all of the political entities, and I say all, they are expecting to get lists at a certain time, and they were not released. And we heard several explanations from the experts and the persons the officials in this area as to why that wasn't done. Additionally, again, claiming ignorance, a list came out in May which provided the political parties to challenge the names if persons don't live in a constituency, if persons are not eligible to vote, if persons are dead, whatever the case is, wrong names, whatever the case is. However, there's a specific time after you challenge, for example, your name, if your name is challenged, and correct me if I'm wrong, the caller can call back in and educate us all, that name should be halted, so to speak, while it is being investigated. He used the term resisted. So if I'm challenging you, you have a certain time to prove that, yes, it is indeed you. You are legally registered to vote in this area. Hence, your name should go back on the list. But to put back on all of these names without those hearings being heard, that is what is being challenged. The fact that the law seems to have been infringed. Additionally, the same caller spoke about, well, you could challenge after. But how do you know who I voted for? Voting is a blind process. You know that I voted on that day, so you won't know. So who you going to take and subtract and add and shift the votes around in the end to make a decision that is ethical and legal? So it's very interesting when I listen, and I would hope, I would hope that the gentleman would call back in and advise us, because I know he's not only educated in the legal field, but politically he's in that sphere as well. So he's also apprised as to what's happening.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. I myself, I wanted to question the insistence that a 400-page document is a bit out of order.
It could have been 1,000 pages. If it requires 1,000 pages for the legal thing to be done, so no one is disenfranchised or any candidate is not victimized, so be it.
But I'm sure there are multiple precedents. I am sure there are multiple precedents of the court.
NLP or PAM, CCM or NRP. Any one of them.
Okay.
They should not be victimized.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Right, I'm sure that there are multiple precedents of the court having to deal with 400-page documents in short order. So I really don't think that was that carried much water. But we'll see what this other caller thinks, because we are getting close to shutdown time. Welcome, caller.
Hello?
Yes, welcome.
Mr. Blake, good morning.
Mr. Boy, nice to hear from you.
Yeah, I am listening to the program, right? And the 1,000 names, I just, when that was, I came in the bedroom and the 1,000, they are objecting to the 1,000 names.
You're asking the question?
Yeah, right.
Well, no, I want you to carry on, and then after you get off the line, we'll deal with that. Yeah, rather than hold on, stay on the line.
Yes, because the last caller said, well, how they would know that those 1,000 persons, if there's a challenge after, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as I listen, my own common sense is telling me to the same 1,000 names, right? We don't have the minds of those 1,000 people. How we know who those 1,000 persons would vote for, who they would vote for?
Mm-hmm.
You see the point I'm trying to make?
Yes, carry on. When you're finished,
I just let me just make that little observation. I'm lying down here listening.
Okay.
because we don't know. The last call is correct, right? But at the same time, the same 1,000 people, right? We don't know who they're going to vote for. We don't have their minds. So that's my little contribution.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have time for... Yeah, let's take another caller. Hello?
Morning, me again. Just they wait till so late to send out these lists that people can't pick them out. Because somebody was saying that this month was election, but election jumped back. And this kind of term. So this is hustling and bustling to find out all these names who are going on the list. We take care.
All right, I will take care, and you take care yourself, ma'am. Let's take another caller. Hello? Okay. Yes, okay.
Hello?
Yes, talk to me.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Blake.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you something. I'm going to talk fast so that I could get in a lot of words before the 2 minutes.
No, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Okay, one at a time when I was living in St. Thomas. I have a good friend here, and he was what you call one of the monitors in the electoral office. The polling station. And when I come home, he said to me, I said, how the politics going? He said, boy, Labour going to lose in Central. I said, okay, well, if that's so, let it be so. But he said, well, we can't lose because they got a plan. I said, what the plan is? He said, they're going to take some of Sam voters and carry them down in number 2. I said, man, that is wrong. That is wrong, and that shall not prevail over righteousness. And they did it, and they win in number 2. So what Nital said is possible. They put 60-something families on Church Street, and there's only 6 families live there. So that 60-something people, what they put on Church Street, that is what turned the thing around. So it's possible, but let me say this here, Mr. Blake. They should have a bill so that anybody going on the platform to campaign to be elected, present where you get your campaign fund from. Let me get that there because you hear what's happening around the region here. They have a leader of a country here in America lock up for drug money. And that drug man is associated with a politician here.
30 seconds.
Yeah, and they should question them. Where you got your money from for campaign and you associate with that drug dealer. And anybody who break the law has the right on a political platform. Since I got any more time, have a good...
All right, thank you. Let's take another caller. Sorry about that, but I don't control the levers myself. Let's take another caller.
Shalom.
Shalom.
My beloved brother.
Talk to me.
We had 27 years under Labour. Past 27 years was basically under the mentality of Labour. What was the biggest industry we have seen under Labour?
You have 60 seconds, eh?
If you don't get further, I got to say how it is. I can't rush. What was the biggest industry we have seen under Labour? It was murder. Under Timothy Harris connected with the PAM, we tried to get rid of the murder. We realized the murder style has changed. At the brink, bam, you put down the gun, you pick up the knife. Can we go any further under Labour? Why won't the nation rise up and realize the kingdom of God is only 3 divisions? The kingdom of darkness is 3 divisions. They talk about the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. The false prophet got to be that those that speak words and not bring it to pass, my brother. I do wish I had more time, but for now I'll hold out. Because the kingdom of God is divided in 3. And then we got what you call a wicked division. Now here is it, we at the crossroad, we're talking about the streets of gold. The power of life and death in hand. The man that's supposed to come forward have the power of life that in his hand, which is anesthesiology to put you to sleep and wake you up. He's the first. The city upon the hill cannot be hidden.
10 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Callers have to understand and accept the reality that they cannot speak forever, that they cannot speak for as long as they wish, because we are limited with time. And the clock is telling me my time is almost up. Do we have time for one more call? Or that's it? Okay, let's take our final caller for today and for this week.
Yeah?
That privilege is yours.
Okay. Listen to me.
You have 60 seconds.
You hear in these fellas talking about.
You have 60 seconds and not 1 second
okay, Blake.
extra.
I am saying Central Street could shut off with it and people are saying in the church. When you have meeting, if you just block off,
whether you're going there or not, it will just block off, right? And it will don't block off when there's an election. You got two lines, one going up by the court, one going down by College Street. So I don't see why they should have tied up by Dr. Lake Drive. All right.
Okay, thank you. All right, we've heard that we expressed before. We are going to call that George as we go for today and for this week. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being a part of Frank and Candid today and for this week. And we will continue next week. Let us hope all of us who are here now will be here then. Until such time, be good.
Gas prices are on the rise. Putting gas in your vehicle has become stressful, and you need relief now. That's why a PAM CCM government will roll back and cap gas prices at $14 a gallon through our Get Relief plan. A $4 per gallon savings translates into hundreds of dollars a month back into your pocket. Relief is on the way. On Friday, August 5th, vote PAM for better days in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Better days are coming.
Whether it's a dress store on 4th Street, a snack in Kayon, or a village grocery in St. Paul's, our small businesses play an important role in our economy. By supporting these businesses, you are helping to create or keep a job or two and to revive our economy. Support our local small businesses. Buy local and keep the doors to our small businesses open. This message is brought to you by ZIZ in support of our small businesses across the Federation.